Hello everybody, how are y'all doing today? I hope y'all are still enjoying these videos, and I do want to apologize about my last video. I tried to increase the game audio so that you all would be able to hear the game better, but I made it a bit too loud, so yeah. So I hope y'all don't mind that, and we are just about to finish off the dragon. It took a few minutes to do that. I also killed the knight up here so he wouldn't kill me again. And so now the dragon's been killed and a new lever has risen. So, yay. That is the safe way to kill the dragon, is to just stand back and shoot it a bunch of times with arrows. And now I have a new shield. The Dragon Parma. Which is pretty good, actually. It's a pretty good shield. And looks pretty cool, too. Anyway. So, we're now going to pull the lever, and what this will do, this will drop the drawbridge. And what's on top of the drawbridge? Well, some items and another boss fight. So, fun. Now, normally I don't fight this boss my first time to Hades Tower of Flame. However, in this series, I feel it's best to go ahead and knock this boss fight out while I'm here. Simply because this boss is kinda difficult at the early stage of the game, but one thing I will warn you about. The other boss that you have in this area in Hades Tower of Flame, the boss over there, the one we rose the platforms for, upon killing him, all of the Hade Knights will become hostile. They'll stand up and they'll start wandering around. And they will kill you if they get close enough to you and get your aggro. They will try and kill you. Which can make getting to that additional boss and killing that dragon just a bit more difficult than it was before. So, but you also have one of these guys to kill. And we also have a Hade Knight here. I will say this, that no matter what kind of build you use, you should invest in some kind of bow or crossbow. At least in my opinion. Just because it gives you a little bit more damage to work with. And can help you when it comes to trying to lead enemies away from the crowd. Okay. Gonna have to use an Estus. I'm gonna try and save as many of these as I could for the upcoming boss fight. But I need these guys out of my way. Because in here you can find another ring. One that is also pretty useful. Known as the Ring of Binding. Now, it's only really that useful if you don't mind being hollow. If you intend to stay human as much as possible, the ring's pretty worthless. What the Ring of Binding does is it increases it decreases the amount of health you lose from hollowing. Also, Masterless Glencar. This is an NPC summon that you can get here. You can get him for both bosses. And while he is more or less meant for the boss over there, he's more useful for this boss we're gonna go fight, because really, the boss over there is really easy. I'm not kidding. I've never died when fighting that boss. Ever. Well, okay. Correction. I've never died to that boss in my world. I've died helping other people fight the boss because of the fact of just sheer carelessness, or the people didn't raise all the platforms and I didn't notice and I walked off the edge. So here we have the Cathedral of Blue, and as we wait for Mr. Masterless to show up, we will get ready for a boss fight. Now, those who have played Dark Souls 1, but not Dark Souls 2, will recognize this boss. This is the old Dragon Slayer. He is almost identical to a boss in the previous Dark Souls 1. The only difference is, in this version of the boss, he's dark based, while in Dark Souls 1 he's more lightning based. He also, in Dark Souls 1, had a partner that helped him fight, which made his fight to be unbearable and, from my opinion, to be considered one of the worst bosses in this game. Or, not in this game, but in Dark Souls 1. It's probably the boss that is my most hated Souls boss of all time. But this version of the fight is pretty nice. Simply put, because this guy is by himself. In Dark Souls 1, he and his partner make the fight really, really irritating. I'm actually surprised he hasn't done more magic. I mean, he has a butt pound that we're about to see again, but he's got a few other dark attacks as well that I'm actually really surprised we get to see. And this is why it's actually nice to have Glencore around for this boss fight. Because Glencore uses a greatsword, he actually has a lot of poise damage. So he can break the old Dragon Slayer's poise, and there we have it. We've killed him. Yay! And upon killing him, we get the old Leo ring, which in and of itself is pretty useful. It increases the amount of damage you do with critical hits with a thrusting weapon. And in case you're curious, things like parries and ripostes and backstabs are all considered critical hits. So, but now that guy I didn't bother talking to because he's not going to do anything for us. This area is literally just a dead end. This boss is completely optional. And what this boss does is it leads you to the Blue Sentinel Covenant. The only problem is, unless you've already helped somebody and gotten the item from helping them, the guy won't even listen to you. He'll tell you to leave, that he has no reason to talk to you. He's kind of a jerk, to be honest. And now we can level up a bit more. Leveling up the intelligence and faith. I'm gonna up my vitality just because I like having some even numbers on my list. And I'll buff my dexterity again. I don't really need to buff my strength yet. And so yeah, so now we've killed old Dragon Slayer. And it's time to move back to Hades Tower of Flame and take on the next boss. The boss that actually lets us progress in the game. Yeah. It's fun times with this boss. But yeah, let's see. I killed the Dragon Slayer and these guys did not get up. But once I kill the next boss, they will get up and start being hostile in this area. Which is why I would recommend trying to kill Dragon Slayer first, rather than the other boss that's here. Because killing the other boss first, I mean, if you have no intention of going for the Blue Sentinels, you can completely avoid that building if you don't wish to do anything with the Blue Sentinels. If you intend to get the achievements or want to be in the Blue Sentinel Covenant, I would definitely highly recommend going after Dragon Slayer first. I also recommend fighting Dragon Slayer in general even if you don't want the Covenant, because it's more souls. And you always need more souls. I was about to say, did I not get either of their aggro's? Jump. Fancy jump. I'm back here. Now sometimes they'll lose aggro long before they even get over here. Well, not this time. I'll use a life gem. I will say this. I would recommend trying to save your Estus for bosses. And when you're healing outside of that, to either use magic or use life gems. Only using Estus when really desperately necessary. Such as when you're nearly dead. And enemies almost finished you. So yeah. So, just out of curiosity, as just a random question for you all, how has y'all's day been? Has it been good? Has it been bad? Is it still just going? How's your day been? Yep. I don't know why I'm being quiet. I really shouldn't be. I just not sure what exactly to talk about. I mean, I've already explained about fighting these guys not being all that difficult. I mean, this area in and of itself is the harder of the two options to start with when choosing between Hades Tower of Flame or Forest of the Fallen Giants. This is the trickier, more difficult option. But only because these guys here have a lot more health and a lot more armor. Speaking of their armor, I should mention that off camera, I actually got a pair of their leggings off camera when I went to go kill the dragon. So, and it's not that bad armor, you know, but I still just prefer my Falconer set. And now I could summon Glencore, but I really, really don't need to. I'm waiting for my health to recover. And I will say this, I just recently, yesterday, picked up Until Dawn. Until Dawn is a very, very fun game. But of course, if you're a more, action-centric person, it's not a game for you. What in the world? Okay. What the heck? Why are you hitting me so much, you jerk? Yeah, but the trick with fighting this guy... Oh yeah, by the way, this is Dragon Rider. Probably should mention that. Though you can read his name at the bottom of the screen, so... But well, I guess for you guys at the bottom of the video. Unless you're going full screen, then it is for the bottom of the screen. No, but the main trick of Dragon Rider for fighting him alone is just dodge his attacks and dodge until you're behind him. Ow. Like I said, dodge his attacks. Don't do the crap I just did. And there he is dead. And yeah, and see now the Hate Knights are up and walking around. I'm not sure why killing Dragon Slayer or Dragon Rider is what causes them to get up and walk around, but it is. It's kind of weird. But yeah. And now we have Lycia.
My name is Lycia.
This lady is just kind of annoying, but she is required to beat the game. To talk to her.
This cathedral without any sorry.
Yeah. Once she says she'll move on, you're good to go. You can buy some stuff from her. She is your main not sorcery, but your main miracle merchant. So you can get healing spells, attack spells, a few other types of spells. She doesn't have too much really to
No
offer.
need.
That's
The
all that
god.
good, except for the healing spells. I mean, don't get me wrong, Force and Lightning Spear and Homeward, they're all good spells. They're just a bit more tricky to use, and some are more more situational. Such as Force is only really that useful when you know you can knock an enemy off, because it's a kind of like an energy wave that pushes things away from you. And so using Force, can push enemies off cliffs. But if you're not using it at a cliff, you can knock shields back, but that's about all. And now we
Oh,
talk to
hello
Lucy
there.
again.
This room is not as and lit.
And
Shall
she'll
I?
say that there's two paths and that she can offer her power of prayer to change the path, saying that the path is changed by the power of miracles, when all she really does is she puts a key into that stone right there.
Go
And then
ahead.
she takes 2,000
May the
souls
offer your.
and moves the path for you. And this unlocks a whole string of sections that are some are quite big, others are kind of tiny. But overall, this area is just a pretty vast area. There are 4 different locations along this path, along with a few more, uh, several more bosses, and a few side paths here or there. This is also where we'll find this
The
guy,
dark stirs. I see. My name is Falcon.
Felkin. Felkin, the guy. Felkin in and of himself is pretty cool, and he's also one of your hexing merchants. So if you're planning on building a dark-based character,
No
this
matter.
guy is the one to go to, at least for early game. And here we have Huntsman's Cope. Now, we won't be going to Huntsman's Cope anytime soon. I just wanted to get to the well, relatively soon, I guess. I just wanted to go ahead and get the bonfire lit now, rather than coming back and doing it later. So when we do go there, we can just teleport there, since it's a lot faster.
There seems
And now
less.
it's time to level up with this lady, Shanalat. And I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade my intelligence and faith again, because in the comments on my video when I asked people to tell me what kind of magic you would like me to use, I only got 2 votes, both of which were for hexes. And I'm unsure if I will do the hexes, or if I'll wait for more people to show up and vote, if they want to vote, of course. But at this point, it seems I'll end up using hexes. But I was thinking about possibly doing like a mix with hexes and pyromancies, since both of them require the same stats. That I could use those 2 spells interchangeably, so that, if I'm facing enemies that are strong to dark, I can use fire. If I'm fighting enemies that are strong to fire, I can use dark. That way I have a bit more variety to use on my character. And there isn't really anything I can get from him that'll be too useful. Because I have an idea on a weapon type I want to use, but I can't really get one anytime soon. How many Titanite shards do we have right now? So we have 8 Titanite shards, 1 large Titanite shard, and a Titanite slab. So, and the Petrified Dragon Bone is used to upgrade boss weapons. So, yeah. I guess it won't take too long. I can go ahead and show y'all real quick the next area we're going to be going to. It's a bit of a small area, but it is a little tricky and filled to the brim with enemies and items. So it can be a bit tricky to get through as well. but it's also very, very, very rewarding. Especially if you're wanting to do a character like what I'm trying to do. So, because I'll tell you this, this path here is not technically necessary, this next location. You could, under the right circumstances, if you play your cards right, you could skip this entire next area. However, if you're wanting to use pyromancies, you will need to come here. Well, I say you'll need to come here, but I believe there is another option you can go with. But this is just the easiest way to do pyromancies early on. And so this will be a little bit of a longer video. But, oh, right, I still am wearing the life ring. Give me the Leo ring. There we go. And that's happened. The Leo ring is very, very nice. And by killing that guy and opening this chest, we get Sublime Bone Dust. Now, if you're curious, Sublime Bone Dust is a unique item that you have to burn at the bonfire in Majula. It only works if you burn it in the bonfire at Majula. And what it does is it makes your Estus flasks heal more health. So right now my Estus flasks are +0, but once I burn the Sublime Bone Dust, they'll become +1. And so on and so forth up until +7, I want to say. Which requires, of course, 7 things of Sublime Bone Dust. So, and I don't think there's 7 in the actual game. So you would have to wait till New Game Plus to get the full effect of the stuff. And now, there is a path over there that leads to some items, but we don't have the item required to get in there yet. So, that area is kind of useless to go to. To be honest, even when you have the item, it is still useless as well, because all it is a set of armor. So we'll come around these stones, and we'll come across a bonfire. Light the bonfire, and then right around this corner, out this cave, is No Man's Wharf, our next location and journey. With jerks that like to shoot fire arrows. So yeah, so that being said, that will be all for this video, and I hope you all have a nice day. So long.